Trust is the most crucial thing that's hard to give but is necessary for you to be able to delegate. Because if you say that it's hard for me to trust, so I won't be able to delegate, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to be able to delegate if you will always have second thoughts. But there will be risks involved, right? There would be errors. You have to have that patience too. You have to give your team the leeway to be able to adjust to how you work, especially if it's the first time you're working together.
It's a bit hard to move with a client who has been doing this certain task for the longest time because they have a certain process. They want it to be done at the same way and at the same rate that they have been doing it for the last 10, 20 years. And then they expect the VAs that they would be doing it the same exact way in the very first day. They're undermining the team's autonomy, the stifle creativity. It will affect the performance of the team members that you want to be efficient in managing the hours or your money. I believe that's one very big factor in terms of delegating. It's letting go of something that you have been doing for the longest time.
Trust is always there, right? Trust in the team that you hired, maybe from a different agency, a direct, or from Smart VAs, right? Will help you succeed and scale your business and lots of ventures. And we are sure that the team that you will hire can adapt to different working styles to maintain that harmonious working relationship with you so that it's going to be a fruitful collaboration and a successful partnership.
Welcome to the 200th episode of the Master Delegator podcast. I'm your host, Kristy Yoder, and today we're diving deep into the art of delegating tasks to virtual assistants, joined by my team members, Regine, our COO, Lexxie, our client services manager, and Miguel, our senior project leader at Smart VAs. We'll unpack the importance of trust, communication, and collaboration in building a successful team, from assessing strengths and setting clear expectations to the crucial role of training and mentorship. We'll provide you with actionable insights to optimize your delegation strategies. Plus, we'll discuss the impact of leadership and the mindset needed to not only delegate tasks, but also build a thriving, value-adding partnership with your virtual assistants. Whether you are a seasoned pro or just starting out with virtual assistants, this episode is packed with advice to help you delegate effectively and grow your business. Hello, Miguel, Regine, and Lexxie. I'm so excited that you're here with me. This is our 200th, it's hard to pronounce, 200th episode for Master Delegator podcast. And I thought of inviting you guys because you guys have experience when it comes to accepting tasks. So you are being delegated to, and at the same time, you are delegating tasks to our team members. So my first question to you guys, and I feel like you guys are the perfect people to answer this question because you handle a lot of clients, and not just clients, clients with different personalities. That's why I'm so excited to dig deeper as to how we should be, as business owner, delegating to virtual assistants. So my first question is, so we have clients that delegate tasks to you, and you delegate the task to the virtual assistant, whoever it may be. So how do you make sure that you delegate the task completely and accordingly to the VA, making sure that the output of the VA is what the client wanted?
For me, who have really been, most of our clients are actually more comfortable in delegating a task to their project leaders. And, when you're delegating the task, there's always a big question in your head because you are not the one who's expert in that field. This is something that we always remind our clients that whenever they are going to delegate a task, they need to remember these 4 keywords: who, what, how, and when. Let's start first with the what. When receiving the task, we need to understand the task fully. Like, what does the VA need to do on this task? Is there any specific instruction on this task? And are all the resources needed for the VA to perform the task was given by the client? And of course, one of the reasons why they sometimes delegate it to the project leader is because they don't know all of their team members yet at that time. So you as their project leader should really match the skills of the VA that you will be delegating the task to. Make sure that, of course, they have the available bandwidth, that they have the skill to perform this task, um, and make sure that the instructions that was given to the client, that you were able to understand it, because you cannot delegate something that you don't have a full understanding of. And I guess the last part of the four keywords that I provided there was when, because the due date is very important. This due date doesn't have to be like the output doesn't have to be submitted on the actual due date, because we also need to, take in consideration the time for revisions or the feedback that will be given by the client. So that is something that we also consider and communicate with our VAs when we delegate the task to them.
I love that. So you mentioned the word due date. As a follow-up question to your answer, what is the best due date or the time frame that a business owner should give to the VA?
Honestly, this would depend on the complexity of the task. If it's something like, create like a landing page for me or create this specific graphic for me, we can consider like a 24 to 48 hour time frame. That would be, something that's going to be feasible for the VAs. And also, you communicate that with the VA if this is something that you can do within the next 24 to 48 hours. And within this 24 to 48 hours, we need to constantly give progress reports to our client, just so they know that we are working on it and where we are currently on this task that you provided. The progress report, this is actually really what's going to help on our client's end, especially if the task takes more than the 48-hour time frame. Say, for example, a content calendar. A 2-week content calendar would take more than 48 hours. It would take like a week for a VA to do. So we really need time, but we need to inform our clients where we at on this content calendar that the VA is working on, just so they know that they're still loop in the progress and the process of creation of the task that they just delegated to the team.
I love that. So as a person that accepts tasks from the client, we also have to make sure that we have a realistic due date that we set for the virtual assistant. And if the client gives a due date that is not realistic, then we proactively communicate with the client that, hey, it takes this much to finish this task. Maybe you should allow us more time to finish the task. So how about you, Regine? When it comes to making sure that you are delegating the task properly to the virtual assistants, not your task, but tasks from the client, how do you make sure that you are delegating it properly?
I think aside from what Miguel shared, as I was thinking about the question that you asked, I always come from a standpoint of not knowing anything, right? Because if we think about our clients or the business owners that we work with, we don't expect them to know all of the services that we provide. In the same way that I also don't know the services that we provide. So when I always go back to the question of how to delegate, it's always assuming that I don't know anything or the client that we work with doesn't know anything about the task. So an important thing that I always had ever since I started at Smart VAs with not knowing anything is trust. Because I know who among my team or who among our team at Smart VAs is an expert in that field, let's say SEO. If I don't know anything about the task, I jump in on a call with the VA. Right? I call them on a Zoom call with me. Hey, these are the instructions that the client provided. Knowing your expertise, I feel like it's complete. But is it complete? Do you need anything else? Or is there anything about the estimated time that the client is requesting for us to do about the due date that we need to request any changes on or request more time for, right? So it's really knowing who to talk to about the task so that you can delegate it efficiently. And then once you, to Miguel's point earlier, right, the client doesn't really know who to assign it to. And that's why they assign it to the project leader. And that's also based on trust, that you know that your project leader knows who to assign the task to. In that process, we were able to learn how to actually do things. And that's where we are able to identify the 4 W's that Miguel shared when it comes to delegating. So I think it's all about knowing who will do it and trusting that the person will actually knows how to do it.
I love that. I remember there was a time, Regine, where you asked me, how was I able to delegate not just tasks to you, but responsibilities? Because I freely give you tasks and responsibilities. And there was a point where you asked me, how did you do that? And then I think the answer I gave to you was just trust your team. So of course, initially you don't have that trust, right? It's hard because you have to get to know the people, even not just the task, but the people and also the client, because you have to learn your client's expectation. So in your case, how did you trust your team? And your team members are actually Miguel and Lexxie. They're here right now.
Honestly, answering that question, it's trusting blindly,
Hmm.
right? Starting from the recruitment process that we have. Because I know that we are able to filter the team members the right way. I know that when they once they're part of the team, they already know what they're doing. Because I trust that process, it's easy for me to jump in and trust the new team members that we bring in, even if it's the first time that we're going to work together. Right. And of course, as you go along the way, you get to build that trust. And I think that's what's difficult when it comes to delegating for our clients and business owners out there listening to the Master Delegator. Trust is the most crucial thing that's hard to give, but is necessary for you to be able to delegate. Because if you say that it's hard for me to trust, so I won't be able to delegate, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're not gonna get anywhere. You're not going to be able to delegate if you will always have second thoughts. But there will be
Agree.
risks involved, right? There would be errors. You have to have that patience too. You have to
Mhm.
give your team the leeway to be able to adjust to how you work, especially if it's the first time you're working together. But it's trusting blindly. I think it sounds funny, but that's the honest truth.
Yeah, yeah. And even with me, like I trust people initially, you know. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're good people, that they can do the task for you. And trusting somebody involves taking risk. And if you don't take risk, you won't be able to go further.
Yeah.
So um I remember when I first hired Regine as my full-time virtual assistant. Um, I wasn't a micromanager, actually. I wasn't even sure if I trained Regine properly during that time. I feel like as I grew the business, I evolved as a leader as well. But I didn't have a choice but to trust Regine because I needed help in the business. And I was just blessed that I found the right person to trust to and delegate tasks to, because if not, then, you know, it's not that we wouldn't be where we are at today, but it would be difficult. So really trusting somebody and taking risks, they're both important. How about you, Lexi?
I totally agree with what Miguel and Miss Reg said. Those are my answers. Great answers, by the way. No, but just to add, of course, we delegate to our team by first, right, assessing each member's strength to match, of course, what tasks fit their skills. Definitely, they are the experts, right? So we also provide clear instructions, if possible, sharing the recording from that specific meeting where the task was delegated, or to what Ms. Reg said earlier, um, inviting them to a quick Zoom call so that we could discuss what are the tasks that needed to be accomplished that's delegated by the client. And of course, we need to set proper expectations to all of our VAs to avoid misunderstandings, especially time allocations. That's very important, right? And like what we'd mentioned earlier, definitely putting the trust that the team will make the right decisions and, take the ownership of their work. We also do regular check-ins, just to monitor the progress, not to micromanage, but just to monitor the progress and offer, our support if ever they need it. And then we also um, utilize and maximize the use of our teamwork or web work just to keep everybody aligned and on track with the task as well, especially in communicating the progress or the completion to the clients.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. You mentioned time allocation. This is very crucial when it comes to implementing tasks that were delegated by the clients. So how
Right.
does this work? How do we allocate time to the VA? Because there's a lot of business owners out there that are very frugal when it comes to time usage. You know, they make sure that they make the most out of their 20-hour subscription plan in a month,
Mhm.
although we don't have a 20-hour subscription plan, but they really want to make the most out of their subscription. So how do we make sure that we allocate time accordingly to each specific task?
We actually created like an estimate or a standard time usage based on the previous works of majority of our VAs. Let's say, for example, for social media, how long will a social media VA create a reel to post for the platform, or how long will it take for them to create a simple graphics or a simple carousel? So we collate them, and then we add formula with the help of our learning and development lead Addy to create those database or spreadsheet, so that every time the client would ask how long will it take for this to accomplish, we always have an estimated, we always use the estimated or the average, because we don't really know what would be the exact time when the VA can handle this, because especially for graphics or creatives, we always tell our clients these are, or these has subjective preference. It might be good for the VA as the expert, but it might not be that good for the client because they're looking for something. So those are the types of expectation, and especially in time allocation, in setting proper expectations.
Right, that's true. And that's also same thing with setting a realistic due date, right? We may be able to set a standard time allocation for each task, but each of the time allocation for each task may not be as really realistic as we wanted it to be, because it depends on the complexity of the task. It depends on um, the skill set of the VA as well, and the experience of the VA. So when it comes to
We also, oh sorry, I just
go
wanted to
go
add, Ms. Kristy. Also, we highlight and emphasize that during the first 3 months, especially if that is a new client, that the hours that the VAs will use might be slightly elevated to our standard time average. But we also tell them that, after the learning phase or the learning curve or the first 3 months, trust the team that the time usage will be decreased.
And that's a very good point, because it's such a fresh topic. It's such a good topic right now, time allocation, because of our clients, right, at Smart VAs, and how things are going, because clients are being more strict about the time usage. I think one good reminder that I have for our listeners is I came from a standpoint that I didn't know anything about the task, right? But there are also clients who are delegating who know so much about the task that they expect that the VAs who will receive the task will actually spend so little time, right? We've had clients who shared, I only spent 2 hours to do this. Why do you need 6 hours? So when you delegate a task, and think about time allocation, you also have to consider, of course, the learning curve that Lexxie shared, but you also have to think about, despite the expertise of the VA that you're working with, the adjustment phase will still be there, because we don't know your business the way you know your business. So give us that patience, that extra time to get to know you and the business, for us to get to that efficiency that you expect as well.
Right. Yeah. I always tell people, specifically business owners, that even though a VA may be experienced, let's say a VA has 10 years of experience creating social media content and has worked with, let's say, 50 business owners, it is still going to be different if the VA onboards you as a new client, because the VA needs to get to know you in the business. Your approach, your style is different from those other 50 business owners that the VA has helped in the past. So give your VA grace, making sure that you allow the VA to learn about you and the business as well. It's all about building a relationship. When you hire a virtual assistant or anything that involves people, it is all about building a good relationship. So we have handled so many clients. Currently we have, almost 70 clients, and we work with more than 350 clients since 2019, including my first clients when I was a virtual assistant. So we have dealt with so many different styles or approaches when it comes to delegating a task. Each client, they have their own style of delegating a task. Some clients, they delegate tasks via email, via messenger. Some clients, they have just a one-liner instruction when it comes to delegating a task, and they expect the VA to complete the task right away. So what do you think, based on what we've seen so far with our clients, what do you think are the most common mistakes when it comes to delegating a task?
I guess lack of clarity. That's one. And sometimes, not all, but we do have clients who's overly controlling, especially with the completion, like, I mean, the time usage. I want you to use this amount of time, but they're expecting so much. Like, I want you to create an animated graphics that has this, that has that, but I only want you to use no more than 1 hour of my plan. So that type of client, I just wanted to give an example. For example, I have a client, she mentioned that she wanted to utilize the hours and not have any unused hours by the end of the cycle, right? So she just informed the VA that, hey, I need you to create reels to post and just check my IG for reference and set up newsletters for the next 3 months. That's it. That is the instruction of the client. Then, of course, the VA asks a client if she had any specific video to use. Of course, it's very crucial for the platform, especially for IG Reels, right? But it took several days for the client to, or for the VA to receive a response. So despite this, that specific VA went ahead and created the reel, drafted the newsletter, and then sent them for review. However, the client, since we all know that all of our clients are busy, right, focusing on another things or another aspect of their business. So the client took some time to provide feedback, so which led to delays and some unused hours for that cycle. So I guess more of the story is to provide some clarity to the VA, especially if you would like to utilize the full capacity of your plan or your hours. Because if we actually receive that feedback ahead of time, we could have revised if ever there's any revision needed, and then we could have used that unused time for another aspect of the business as well.
I love that. Setting expectations really and giving complete instructions are important when it comes to delegating. And I'm sure there are, in that example that you gave, the problem wasn't just setting a clear expectation. It also
Communication.
it also involves lack of communication and so many things.
Right. And when in relation to that and what you just shared, Kristy, I think one thing that's missing from that scenario, which is also applicable to your question of what it is to delegate poorly, it's not willing to invest time for your team, right? Because if we're talking about new clients, right? If this is a new business venture for you, a new partnership for your business, if you're not willing to put in the time to guide your team as we start, whatever kind of person you hire, you hire full-time, you hire direct, you hire onshore, you hire offshore, everyone would need that training period. And as a business owner, for you to be able to ensure that you're setting up your business for success, you also have to make sure that you set up your team for success. Because it's not always a lucky hire where you just get to hire someone and then just say, here, take it away, and then that person gets to do their magic, right?
Right.
I think it's rare that you get that kind of hire wherever you go. Virtual assistant.
That's Regine. I got the magic.
Rare. No,
Sorry, guys. You can't have her.
now I lost my train of thought. No, but yeah, you have to have, for you to be able to say that you're efficiently delegating, you really have to make sure that you invest time. And this is very fresh from the call that I had with one of our clients yesterday as she wrapped up her first 60 days with us at Smart VAs. She mentioned that she understood that she just needed to set that initial time with the team, put in a little extra time with the team for her to be able to set them up for success. And she's been with us she's on her way to her 90th day, and she already surpassed her best financial year just by managing the team for less than 3 months. So that efficiency, when you have that mindset that you're building your team while you're building your business, you'd be able to let go much more quicker and delegate better because you invest that initial time for your team, which is definitely a huge part when it comes to delegating.
That's true. And I think some business owners, they think that if they hire somebody online, they don't need to do any type of orientation or training. But regardless, if you're hiring somebody online or face to face, physically, you always have to train that person because your team member can't read your mind. Even regardless of the experience. And if you hire somebody, let's say McDonald's, right? If McDonald's hires somebody, what do they first do? They orient the person and they let the person go through a meticulous training because they have to make sure that they know how to put a burger patty in between the burger buns and how much ketchup and mustard to put, So you have to give specific instructions to your virtual assistant according to your liking. And your liking is something that is not gonna be communicated to your virtual assistant without you communicating it to the virtual assistant. So virtual assistants, or regardless if it's somebody, an independent contractor that you're hiring or a full-time employee, we won't be able to read your mind. So when it comes to delegating tasks poorly, I know, Miguel, you have another example of that because we've dealt with so many clients. We've learned a lot from them, actually. We won't be talking here today without those clients. So thank you for teaching us the hard way.
And I would say, we grew so much from it. In relation to what Miss Reg said a while ago, the investment of time. We understand, when our clients start our partnership with us, it's all about the investment. It's investment of your time, investment of your talent, investment of your money, right? When we say you're investing your time, your talent and your money, of course, you need to make sure that it's going to the right place. That's why you really want to hop on different agencies, different people, making sure that you're getting the right people in your team. When we say you're investing your time, you have to make sure that you're investing it the proper way of allocating your time. Because sometimes, when they invest their time, like what one scenario that Miss Red shared, she invested her time in terms of, giving the team a training of and an understanding of what she wants and what her goals are. And sometimes there are also clients who invest their time in micromanaging the team. It's a bit hard to move with a client who has been doing this certain task for the longest time, because they have a certain process. They want it to be done at the same way and at the same rate that they have been doing it for the last 10, 20 years. And then they expect the VAs that they would be doing it the same exact way in the very first day. So, they undermining the team's autonomy, the stifle creativity. It will affect the performance of the team members that you want to be efficient in managing the hours or your money. I believe that's one very big factor in terms of delegating. It's letting go of something that you have been doing for the longest time. That's one of the toughest part on the client's end. And I've seen it with other clients who was able to, step out of it. I don't want to name names, but, Greg Terusan, for example. You know, I
Greg
watched
was a
one of
guest on this podcast
yeah,
this
I
year,
Love
watched
you,
early
that
this year.
Greg.
episode. I watched that episode of Greg, and that
Hi,
was
Greg.
one of his struggles when he started working with Smart VAs.
Mm.
Let it go because he knows how to do it and he knows how it's done and he knows what to expect if he would do it by himself. But letting go of that task is the hardest part of it all. So um again, one tip for our viewers and our future clients is, of course, you really have to let go and trust the team.
Hmm. I love that. And I love that you added more to what Regine said about investing your time. And because you can invest your time, but you may not be using it positively for the growth of the VA, right? You may be investing your time, but you're micromanaging the VA. And for type A people, it's actually hard to let go of that or let go of some of their tasks because they believe that, I mean, not everybody, I don't want to generalize type A people, but they believe that they're the best in what they do, and therefore they're the only ones who can do the task better, you know. But it's not sustainable. We have to delegate eventually if you want to grow your business. And micromanaging also suffocates your team,
Mhm.
you know.
Right.
I think micromanaging only works for people who don't really know what they're doing, you know, because you have to, I mean, I'm not a micromanager, but if I micromanage you, you know, in Tagalog, kabahan ka na, be afraid,
Yes.
right? Because I know you're doing something.
Mhm.
If
Or
I keep
people
on
who would like to
following
be
up,
micromanaged.
yeah, that's true. Or people who would like to be micromanaged, but you know, it's not a good use of your time as a business owner.
And
So,
it defeats the purpose also of you delegating, right?
mm,
You hired someone or you invested on your team at Smart VAs because you want to let go and have more time for other things, either your business or your personal life. So if you'll end up micromanaging the team that you're working with, it defeats the purpose. I think you always have to remember your goal. Why did I pay Smart VAs? Or why did I sign up for a subscription? Or why did I hire this person anyway? If I'm not going to be able to get what I wanted when I started this, then I'd rather not do it. So tough
mhm,
reality.
that's true. That's true.
Are you sick and tired of being overwhelmed and afraid you'll never scale your business? Meet Smart VAs. Unlike many virtual assistant agencies that only assign one dedicated virtual assistant, we provide flexibility for growing businesses by assigning a team of experienced virtual assistants that can do different tasks to support your continuous growth. Visit smartvas.online to book a free discovery call and start growing your business.
So you guys, the three of you, you're the seniors in my operations team. And I know I mentioned earlier that I got lucky with Regine, you know, when I first hired her because she's really good at what she's doing. But not only her, also you, Miguel, and Lexxie. That's why I'm really glad that the three of you are part of my team. And of course, not just the three of you. There are also other team members in the operations team that are good at what they're doing, and I highly trust. So, and most business owners, you know, when they work with somebody, they want to they want to work with that person long term, you know, because it's hard to hire somebody. You get to build a relationship with that person, which also takes time. You know, you invest emotionally, you invest your time and energy towards that person. So with the three of you, you've been at Smart VAs for, you know, Regine 4 years already, Lexxie 3 years, and Miguel, I think more than 2 years. So and the three of you started as a virtual assistant. You know, you did not start where you were at right now. So and you know, if I wasn't, or even as a business owner, even as the owner of Smart VAs, I'm kind of amazed of your growth. You know, the way have you develop yourself, the way have you how you have grown, and even when it comes to how you present yourself, your communication, I think all of us have grown. So what was the secret there? You know, what made you stay and what made you open, what made you become open to the idea that, you know, you can grow at Smart VAs?
I'll start first. I think for me, when I joined Smart VAs, I didn't have a mindset that I was a VA.
Mm,
I think that's what made a huge difference. I didn't go into Smart VAs thinking that I'll be a VA for the rest of my life. And that resonated so well with me when I started doing the discovery calls, which was actually my first task from you, Kristy, right? To do the discovery calls for interested leads, because in one of the slides that we share, we say that we're not your regular type of virtual assistants. We're not your usual virtual assistants where we're project based, right? Or we do it because you say it. We are the type of team that you work with as if you have business partners. And I think that's the mindset that I had when I started. And
mm,
I felt that because I felt that Kristy trusted me. I'm not sure if you heard that because the motorcycle just passed, right?
yeah.
It was so loud. So I had that mindset alongside the trust that I got from Kristy really helped me and pushed me to develop to where I am today, right? Because I had that freedom and that flexibility to be able to bring the results that is expected of me, even when I was a virtual assistant at that time and not even CEO and not even head of client services and operations and all of the other positions that I had in my 4 years at Smart VAs. We even invented positions just so that it would fit what I was doing, right?
Mm,
I had that mindset that I'm not here to be an assistant. I'm here to be a value adding person in the business. And that's what makes us different from all other agencies that I can think of based on how I've seen competitor analysis that we've done, right? Our VAs, our team, and our project leaders, we're genuinely here because we want to partner with the clients that we work with for the goals that they have for their business. We celebrate their wins. We get sad when there are low moments in the business. We get worried about them. We know their personal life. We know their kids. Their kids grew up with us. It means a lot, right? When we start with a different mindset with the clients that we work with.
mm. Yeah, that's a good point, because we're not just virtual assistants, you know, and we're doing more than that actually. The only reason we call ourselves virtual assistants is to be seen on Google, because that is the most common keyword that, you know, leads look for on Google. But in reality, we are virtual support for business owners. You know, we don't just follow the business owners or listen to what they want, but we also recommend, and we're very proactive in doing that. So I guess if you're a business owner looking for a virtual assistant, don't just look for a virtual assistant, look for somebody who can support you from the beginning of, you know, your business and until you're growing your business, because it's really important that you're with someone that knows you already. You know, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs when you're working with somebody, but just hold on to that person as long as that person believes in your mission and vision and your values. You know, you're gonna grow, not just you alone, but also along with the person that you hired.
Uh, with my story, it was very fast for me. But when I started with Smart VAs, as an executive assistant and a social media manager, it was very new for me. But knowing myself, I am the type of person that I would always be hungry for learning. I keep on, continuous learning and developing my skills. Made me wake up one day and say, I am working with the right company because they continue and help me to grow. That day come, that I had to talk to everyone and say, there's going to be a different route for you. And I was like, okay, now this is my passion. Leading is my passion. And that's when I get more excited. That's where I started to get more involved on things and really be passionate on everything that I do. There was one conversation I think that we recently had, like what gives you fire? What sparks your fire? And I said, communicating and interacting with people. And I guess, that is one of my core strengths. that brought me to where I am right now. And to also my strength, why I have really such good relationship with our clients, with the other team members, with the team, because of that fire when it comes to having that interaction with people. I always remind myself of being resilient and perseverance. Because in the growth that I had with Smart VAs, I realized that my passion for the work and my desire, to help the clients, to help our organization succeed, it keeps me motivated. Even during the toughest times, I never felt alone. I never
Mhm.
felt so that made me realize that I am with the right team. This is more than just a family. This is more than just a family. I am with the team, and I am never alone. During my wins and during my loss, everyone was there. And
Mm.
that's what makes me keep pushing forward and keep me, from learning and making sure that I am growing.
Mm. I love that. And I can totally see that actually between the three of you. There's that support, we don't just support our clients, but we support one another. So you mentioned that you want to help the organization succeed. Why? It's very rare to find, people like this. Like I said, it's, I am so blessed that I have the three of you, and along with the other team members of the operations team. But having that mindset that you want to help the organization succeed, why?
Because I am part of it. I am not just a person who's just receiving what I need to do from this organization. I am part of everything that's happening in this organization. I am part of the client success. If they get, more clients for their businesses, I was part of it.
Right.
That's how I always see myself when I have any involvement in everything that I do. I don't do it
Mm,
just for the sake of. I do it because I want to be involved. And because I am involved, I am part of it, I always give my best.
mm,
You would notice even when I was just a project leader, I proactively do things, even the things that I am not being asked of. Right? I was helping Sir Lex that time, my senior project leader, things that he was usually doing, but he was so busy. I do it myself even if he was not asking for it. Because I felt that if I do this, I'll be helping the company. And with all the help that the company has given me, why would I, question, why would I even second guess in helping the team that I'm working with? So
mm,
The
I'm just
attitude
giving
of
back what I
gratitude.
received. Yeah.
mm,
The attitude of gratitude.
I love that. And for that, I'm truly grateful. um, yeah, because we work as a team, right?
Yeah.
So one person's success is the success of everybody. We don't credit all the success to our own selves, but it's the success of everybody. I was training Mildred, our current outsourcing specialist, right now, 2 months ago. And I was really hands on with her. And she was like, I love that you're very hands on, that you're really training me on how to do this. I said, yes, because I need to set you up for success. I spend in my calendar, I already noted that I'm going to be training her for 2 months. And after that 2 months, I'm going to be letting her go. I just need to invest 2 months in my head. I'm just going to invest 2 months for Mildred. Then after that, I'm going to let her go and let her make mistakes, and give her feedback accordingly and let her succeed, because it may, if she's successful in her position, it's also my success. It's also you guys' success when you are able to help out other people, because we work as a team. We don't just work just because we want to take the credit on our own. It's really teamwork.
Yes, we are smart VAs. Yeah. All right. For me, well, I actually shared this with the Smart VAs team as well, the page, right? I initially started as a part-time VA, handling social media and administrative tasks. And I guess this is going to be really a part of me here at Smart VAs. My very, very first client's task, Miss Kristy, right? Um, that is a direct escalation to you. I will never get tired, telling this story everyone else. But I mean, that time I got really frustrated, really disappointed, and frightened at the same time because that's my first client, and then it's already an escalation. Like, oh my, and then um, what you did is what I love. So, right. So instead of rebuking me with the escalation that I got from the client, you rebuke me with love, offering guidance and showing me that you really care that this VA or this person has a potential and I just need to to hone his skills. And that's what you did. So your mentorship and leadership really is really out of this world. Thank you so much for that. And how you build your relationship with us really helped hone my skills and all of my capabilities and many other things beyond I could imagine. So you really influence us in terms of the way you delegate things, the way you work, how should we do this, um, and of course you hired Miss Reg first before me. So whatever, all learnings that you've shared with Miss Reg, she also shared that with me when she's handling me, when I was a VA, when she handles all of the VAs from Smart VAs, right? I remember that. And then same thing. What I learned from you and what I learned from Miss Reg, those are the learnings and those are the learnings that I share with my team as well. When I was a project leader, I shared that with the VAs that I'm handling with. When I got promoted as a senior project leader, I also shared those learnings to all of the project leaders as well. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that. Your
Mhm.
influence is really everything.
Yeah, and I think it is really a two-way relationship. Um, because even if I was able to give you the necessary feedback you need in order to improve, you as a person, you're also open to feedback. You're very teachable. And that's what I love about Lexi, and eh, if we only look back from the time that you joined Smart VAs to now, you have improved so much. And that's because you're very teachable. That's what very humble and teachable. You're like a sponge. So, and I really love that about you. Actually, each of you, Miguel, Regine, Lexi, each of you has their own unique characteristics. You have your own strength and weaknesses, and you complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. So, as we wrap up, what advice do you want to give to business owners who are frustrated when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant? Someone that has hired a virtual assistant in the past but wasn't successful in doing that, whatever the reason may be.
I think the best advice that I can give, coming from someone who used to do the discovery calls at Smart VAs, is find the team that you will trust. Find the
Mhm.
team, find the person. It may not be Smart VAs, right? We can't cater to everyone. I wish we could, but we know that the reality that we can't, right? We won't fit everyone's need. But as you explore or re-explore hiring virtually, an agency or independently through whatever platforms that are available, find the team that you will trust. Make time to really get to know the company or the person that you're going to work with so that you can put in that initial trust that is necessary for you to make the relationship work out, because it's not because you're the one paying, you get to make the people follow what you want, right? So it, again, as Kristy said, it's a two-way street, right? It's not just about getting paid or paying them or paying the company or paying your VA, right? It's also about building that relationship for you to achieve the long-term partnership that you need from the support system that you're looking for. So find that, find the core values that's important to you. If it matches the core values of the company or the person that you're gonna end up working with, then good. Then that's your foundation, and then build from there.
I love that.
I agree with that. With checking, yes, the core values. It is something that's very important. It has to be the commonality between the client and the team that you want to work with. And for clients who have had, bad experiences with hiring virtual assistants before, it's always important to start fresh, by reflecting on what went wrong before. Identify the past issues, whether they were related to communication, expectation, or skill matches. You also have to own up into something. It's not always going to be the other people who was wrong. There might be something also wrong on your end, and we have to admit that. Even as leaders, we have to admit that all the time, right? Whenever we're going to coach somebody else, we have to check on ourselves. Did I do something also wrong on my end? And as clients, as business owners, that is the biggest pill to swallow before you want to start working again with future team members. A fresh start, it always requires learning from the past, setting clear expectations, and trusting the process.
Mm-hmm. And I believe in what John Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. Most of the time, it's really business leaders' fault. It may be hard to admit, like, I don't want to be the one at fault, because I'm a business leader, I'm a business owner, like, I don't want people to blame me. But 99.9% of the time, it's really our fault because we have control of everything. We have control of the business, we can communicate with people. We have control of the situation. So if something fails, and you didn't do anything about it to prevent it, sad but true, it's really our fault as leaders of the
Right.
business.
And just to add, of course, providing clear objectives, right? Especially openness in communication and trust. Trust is always there, right? Trust that the team that you hired may be from a different agency, a direct, or from Smart VAs, right? Will help you succeed and scale your business and lots of ventures soon. And we are sure as well that the team that you will hire can adapt to different working styles, right? To maintain that harmonious working relationship with you, so that it's going to be a fruitful collaboration and a successful partnership.
I
That's
love
also
that.
a good thing to take on also, collaboration. I think, I know we're closing, but I think this is the first time that we're going to highlight this word in this episode, right? Collaboration. It's very important that the client and the team, the project leader, the senior leadership team collaborates. If you're not open to collaboration, you have to rethink the decisions that you're going to make. You
Yeah.
have to be willing to collaborate with your team for this to work. So just
Right.
keep that.
It's like being in a relationship with somebody, right? It's like dating someone.
Yes.
You have to collaborate, communicate with that person. You have to meet in the middle. When somebody asks you, where do you want to eat? I want to eat at KFC. Like, oh no, I want to eat at Burger King. And then somebody can say, okay, we can eat at KFC today. Then tomorrow we eat at Burger King. You have to meet in the middle. And then also with breakups, right? If you dealt with bad experiences with the previous person or with your ex, you don't bring that baggage towards your current relationship. Like with clients who have dealt with bad experiences with their previous virtual assistant, when you hire somebody new, give that person a fresh start. Don't bring in your baggage from your previous relationship, because that is not fair. And don't compare as well. So one food for thought that I want to leave for our listeners today is, do not do unto others what you don't want others do unto you. And do unto others what you want others do unto you. Speaking of influence, that's actually something that I'm holding on to, because whatever I do, the way I talk, the way I behave, I influence you guys. And influence is not just about, a positive influence towards other people, right? It can be a negative influence as well. So I'm very careful, because people watch you. They watch what you do. You just don't know about it, especially business owners, because we set an example towards our people, and not just business owners, but leaders in the organization as well. You guys, your team members, they watch you, they admire you, and you are their model. So thank you so much, guys. I enjoyed our conversation today. I know we said we're only gonna record for 30 to 45 minutes, but it's not our fault. It's time's fault. It flies so fast. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Miss Kristy.
Thank you.